Yeah, they're a great group. All of the fleet. I've done the. And you don't have to be fast to be on it.
Right.
But they give you all kinds of support.
So just a request to make sure you put on your microphones because we're having a lot of audio problems and system failure, so we need to make sure.
Hello.
What's up? Are you going to stay?
Okay.
We've got an audience.
We have an audience today? What? We have a gallery?
That's new.
How exciting. Feel a little,
Yeah,
feel a
that's
little more
working out.
popular now.
Okay. Holy cow, look at that.
Waste management.
Probably should be careful. Run to the bathroom.
All those in favor? Karen?
Is it intermission?
Congratulations. Because it's the Bambino.
2016.
Oh. Shall we, hey, since you're ready, you have a drink of water, you can do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Our first order of business is to elect a chair and a vice chair. Do we have any motion?
I move to keep the same chair and vice chair from 2015.
I second it.
Yes.
Unanimous decision?
I don't know
Aye.
if it's unanimous, but
So who first and who second?
I'll second.
I first, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
okay.
And,
Okay. Okay, I guess we're that, so much for that. And we have no presentations and then commission communications?
no.
No.
None.
Okay, and consent agenda, consideration of the approval of the minutes of the December 14th, 2015 Environmental and Utilities Commission. Do I have a motion? Any?
I move to approve the minutes.
There you go, we got one.
Second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, and then on our regular agenda, consideration of a workshop of the, on the draft terms of agreement with the waste management. Comment, the city, with assistance of R3 Consulting Group, has completed a 3-month negotiation period with Waste Management, Inc. Staff is requesting commission feedback on term, or draft terms, and further direction to finalize a franchise agreement with Waste Management. All righty. Here is the presentation by the staff.
Before we get started on the presentation, I made this announcement when this item was heard back in October, but I want to reiterate that I work for Cal Recycle, which is the state entity that oversees trash recycling, composting. I don't work on anything related to local government. I work in the policy office looking at sort of statewide general mandates, but I do want to state for the record that I have no competing financial interests or any other kickbacks or anything. So just to state clearly that that's what my job is and that there shouldn't be any conflicts. But if anyone has a problem with that, I'm happy to step out, so. Okay, thanks.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. I'm Paulina Benner, the city's Environmental Services Manager. I'm just going to present from over here because I think that there'll probably be a lot of conversation after my short presentation, so I think it'd be more comfortable to sit here and be able to answer all your questions. As Mike was saying, the purpose of this item is to hold a workshop on the draft terms of agreement with Waste Management. We're asking for the Commissioners' feedback on these terms and any recommendations you may have for council. I'll be taking this item to council next Wednesday on the 20th, and that item and agenda report will incorporate any of your recommendations or comments or feedback you have on these draft terms. As you may recall, in October of 2015, I had presented to the commission an initial waste management proposal and later took that to city council. That was the first proposal that was based on some initial conversations with waste management. It was our initial list of desired fees and programs and included some rates that waste management had provided to us. When we took that item to council, we had requested that the council authorize staff and our consultant, R3 Consulting Group, to begin some limited term negotiations with waste management to further develop that agreement. And we've since completed that, and that has resulted in the terms that we have tonight that would be part of a 10-year performance-based agreement where the city would do the billing and waste management would provide customer service. These draft terms include new and enhanced programs that are listed in Table 1 of your staff report. And as you'll see, these are mostly common programs that we have in other agreements in this area. For example, we'd hope to have an appointment-based bulky waste and household hazardous waste program. That's very common in other agreements in this area. It's very popular and has often been requested by West Sacramento residents. These terms also include new and enhanced fees. Those are in Table 2 of the agenda report. Many of them are also common in other agreements in the area. And you'll find a comparison of these fees to other agreements in Table 6 of the R3 letter report, which is attached to the staff report. And to provide these new services and fees, Waste Management has provided the city with some initial proposed rates, which are referred to waste management rates. And those rates are included in Table 2 of the R3 letter report and are the rates that Waste Management would charge the city for the programs and fees that are associated with the agreement. As you'll see in the letter report, it also includes a comparison of these rates to other rates in the region. That's in Tables 3 and 4 that demonstrate even with increased rates, they'd still be among the lowest in the region. Waste Management has also provided an indicator or a marker to us that for every $100,000 in programs or fees that we add or remove, it would adjust the rates up or down by a little over 1%, just to give you an idea of how things could change. Our city customer rates will be determined later this year through a rate study and a gap analysis that city finance staff is conducting. Those rates will be presented for council's consideration, along with our water and sewer rates. We typically do our rates bundled since they're all billed together. So we won't know customer rates until that's completed and proposed to council later this year. And in closing, I just wanted to remind you, we're looking for your feedback on these terms and any recommendations you'd like to provide to council on the draft terms. And I'll present those next week. And at this point, I'll just close and take any questions.
Anyone? Questions?
I didn't have any questions, but as I was reading through it, I will comment that I'm really happy to see the services that have been added, like the Christmas trees and the special pickup times and, on-call pickups. I think that's great, and that is what we've always been wanting, so, in my household at least.
We listened.
Yeah, I will second that comment. I'm also, I don't really have any questions, but I'm really pleased with the draft terms of agreement, just the additional services like the on-call bulky waste pickup, the Christmas tree. I like the single-family food waste with the kitchen pail. Like a lot of these services seem like they'll be really helpful to the members of the community, and it's really great because West Sacramento has some of the lowest customer rates in the community, so to be able to get that bang for the buck, I think there was an excellent job done in terms of coming to this draft agreement.
Okay. Anyone?
Well, I have a few questions.
Thank you.
So, in the presentation in October, R3 suggested a number of best practices that they recommended be included in this contract, and I was wondering whether or not all of those had been addressed in some way in this current version of the contract. Obviously, some, like the performance-based contract, are reflected in what we're looking at today, but I was wondering about the vehicle replacement requirements, staffing requirements. And there was a long list in the analysis from October's agenda, and was curious if you could comment on that.
Yeah, so the draft agreement that R3 typically uses, they have an agreement that includes all those best practices. That is in draft form, that includes the highlights that I provided tonight, and it does include those best practices. So diversion-based, staffing requirements, reporting, vehicle replacement schedule, all of that's in there.
And with the 50% diversion requirement under this draft contract, what is the penalty if that's not met?
Off the top of my head, I can't recall. The diversion requirement is tied to the extensions. Off the top of my head, I don't recall the exact language, but it is tied, the diversion requirements are tied to future extensions of the agreement.
Okay. One of the big points that we talked about last October was that the franchise fee that the city receives is significantly less than other Yolo County cities that contract with waste management. And I see that that's raised in the draft agreement from 9.2 to 12%, but that's still lower than the 15% that, for example, Winters or Woodland receives. And I was curious as to why we settled at 12% as opposed to a number closer to what Waste Management's providing in other cities.
What we've done is actually split, so typically they have just a franchise fee. We've done the 12% franchise fee and a 3% AB 939 fee.
Okay, I was
So
wondering.
it is 15%, but the AB 939 fee secures that revenue specifically for recycling programs.
Okay.
Whereas the franchise fees could be more general revenue that would be decided through budget process.
Okay. A point of sort of interest for me, so I noticed with I agree with the comments that the increased collection is fantastic for food waste, for special pickups. I was curious as to whether or not the HHW on-call collection also included pharmaceuticals, if that's wrapped in with the HHW?
It does, non-controlled,
Non-controlled?
right,
Okay.
and sharps.
Okay. And then with the food waste collection program, I noticed that it's for inclusion with the yard waste container. And I was wondering if the contract includes a destination for this organic material, because I know that a lot of facilities won't accept food waste mixed in with yard waste. And I'm sure that that happens sort of incidentally right now, but once we expand that program, is that being considered for where this material is going to go?
Yeah, there are some, so in the agreement, Waste Management will designate certain facilities they plan to use. Some of the details are still being finalized on our food waste programs, so that's not, completely firmed up yet in our agreement, but that will be part of the process.
Okay. So I understand that we're still working to figure out what the rates are exactly, but I'm curious as to whether or not that the rates are only listed right now for disposal, and I'm wondering, for the disposal bins, and whether or not additional fees have been, or estimates of what those fees will be for the recycling bins and for the organics bins, and if those rates will also increase?
So are you talking about the rates that are listed for like a 30, so the rates are based on the size of your trash can?
Right.
But it is a bundled rate.
Okay.
So the rate includes the 3 curbside services.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I should clarify that, that's a good point.
Do we have any more comments, questions? I guess that would be no. Do we have a motion then? We submit this, or that we're approving this, recommending this, I should say, the city council?
Would it be fair to say that the commission doesn't have any specific recommendations? I mean, other than your feedback and comments and
Okay.
questions, is there any specific recommendations you'd like me to take to the council for considering when they look at this next week?
I think the idea of a tiered payment increase is great. We discussed last time, I think that should be strongly recommended for a lot of our residents.
So we're talking about the rates?
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
rate
the
increase?
increase, how, even if it's at a slight increase now to prepare for the, the further larger increase. But I don't think any of the increases ended up being very large at all, but, for some of our residents, it would be good that it could be tiered.
Instead of just doing the first bump,
Mhm,
right?
first large, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree.
So if I understand you, Paulina, that there's no vote to be held for this, just?
No, this is just a workshop, so the
Okay.
purpose is just to see, if you have any recommendations. The purpose of the commission is for us to provide information to you. You get a feel for what we're presenting to council, and you can make recommendations and provide any feedback that we can use to guide council's decision and give them some information.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
I mean, I guess to the extent that this reflects the conversation, because we had an extensive conversation in October about what the current practices were and what expanded services we thought were valuable to West Sacramento. And to the extent that this reflects that discussion, and it sounds like it does, I mean, I think that this is a great reflection of that discussion and a good contract to move forward on.
I agree, yeah.
Well, if we have no further comments, we can go on to the general administration. Environmental Utilities Commission calendar. I'm assuming this is based as far as our meetings? Is it?
It's June 13th.
I must have said something to offend somebody. What did I say? Okay.
Yeah. June 13th is the next Environment and Utilities Commission meeting, Monday.
Okay.
We will send out a notification, there's a Earth Day coming up that we'll send out for April. It's late April.
A what date?
Yeah.
We have an Earth Day celebration
Oh,
that we
Earth
do for
Day
the city that
celebration.
we'll send out, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, it was my hearing. I thought I said birthday. I thought, oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
We'll send that out to you via email.
And then, I guess the reports from city staff?
We have none.
Okay.
No.
Future agenda item requests by Environment and Utilities Commission?
No special requests?
None. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn then?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Gosh.